Good morning, everyone, and happy Christmas from the UK. Wherever you're listening, I hope this Christmas brings you joy, happiness, peace, and love. For those of you who don't celebrate Christmas, there's always a question mark there about what we do. Well, aside from the religious part of Christmas, which I suppose is where it originated, we really just show love to one another. It's a time to give gifts. It's a time to see people, perhaps people we haven't seen for a long time. It's also a time to send cards and gifts and to let people know that we appreciate them. There are still some people around who celebrate it in a more religious way, but for most people, I suppose a synonym of Christmas is simply love. And you don't need to be anything special to do that. It just means a little act of kindness. Some people say that perhaps we shouldn't have one particular day of the year where we're kind to people. Maybe we should be doing that every day anyway. It's a day of doing nothing. It's perhaps the only day of the year now where the shops are closed, there's no transport, and we spend the day with family. Things are slowly changing though. Now, if you live in central London, there's a metro service, as well as the usual buses. Elsewhere in the country, things are, well, generally very quiet without public transport. It's really a day to be at home. It's also a nice time to propagate peace. Some people say that, well, if we don't propagate peace in our own communities and in our hearts, then we're not going to see it outside in the world. So some people believe that you can actively stop wars by choosing peace. What Christmas is very interesting. What Christmas was in the past is equally interesting. The way I see Christmas is a little bit like a train. So if you can imagine a train with two wagons, two bits, maybe the engine at the front and the bit that carries passengers at the back. If you can imagine that for a minute and imagine the train being separated. So let's say, for example, there's the engine in the first part, then there's the first class passengers, and then everyone else at the back of the train. So imagine that they separate out into three separate bits, and they're all going in their own direction. I think it's safe to say that the religious part of Christmas has now been left behind. Maybe it was the engine that pulled Christmas forward, but most of us are in that wagon, that part of the train, which is just enjoying love and peace and hope. It's no longer because we believe in anything, it's simply because it's a lifestyle choice that we want to make to see love. And I think there's also people around the UK who choose not to celebrate Christmas, and that's fine for them. I'm sure they find love in other ways. A great synonym for Christmas is simply the word love. A time to give, a time to enjoy some nice food, and a time to be with family. But where is Christmas going? Where is this train headed now that it's been uncoupled or separated from its driving force? Well, this is a very interesting question because none of us know. I can tell you that when I was a little boy, Christmas was more or less a week of doing nothing. However, these days, Christmas is looking more and more like a day, while supermarket staff get ready quickly to work the following day, which is called Boxing Day. When I was a little boy, Boxing Day was not a public holiday. People had to work anyway. So that's been a big change, and it's looking like we're going backwards sometimes. One of these days, I'm sure, someone's going to come up with the idea that we change the name of Christmas. After all, religion's not really very fashionable these days. And if you're here in the UK, it's not a topic that can be safely spoken about unless you actually want to get involved in the thing. The UK, and perhaps lesser so America, these are very diverse countries. And because of that, we know that many people choose not to celebrate the religious Christmas, but the good thing is that most of us like to celebrate the secular idea of love. I would guess in the future, at some point, Christmas is going to be redefined as simply another public holiday, especially when we think of our rapidly changing social structures. We now know that Halloween is more popular than Christmas. It's just like Christmas, but without family. And I think it is the moral family obligations and the social structures that many people really, really don't like. As we no longer socialize and mix as a community, that's perhaps a little bit sad. It makes it sad, it makes it lonely for some people, but for others, they hang on to the fading breath of the past by enjoying family dinners, trying to invite people, or even going to work in a voluntary capacity to cook Christmas dinners for the homeless or for prisoners on this day. Whether we like it or not, Christmas is changing. Easter, the other Christian festival, is slowly disappearing. It used to be that we had a tradition of Friday and Monday off, and more, that's looking like Monday. We're even a little bit shy with some of the names. We prefer to call them public holidays rather than the Christmas holidays. So things are changing. Well, whatever you choose to do today, I hope you do it with a real sense of love, happiness, joy, and peace. And I really hope those things stay with you as we approach the beginning of 2025. See you all. Have a lovely day. Bye.